This is Rob Tebbutt for ID Boxing. Delighted to be joined by the Gorilla, John Ryder. We're here at the Parker-Ryder press conference in London. How are you, John?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. Always a pleasure to catch up. We're a couple of days away now from your big fight against Zach Parker, behind enemy lines, so to speak, on a Queensbury show. Excited?
Yeah, in London as well, which is not bad. Could have been in Derby, but yeah, I'm in my hometown. Yeah, feeling good. Miles from home. Setting up camping hotel today with the team. So yeah, the fight's almost here. It's upon us.
No, I think it's fair to say probably yourself and Zach are more known for your boxing than you are for your trash talking. Did you take anything away from today's press conference, or was it just kind of the formalities before you get into the serious stuff?
Well, he didn't insult my mum or my dad or my partner, and I think, which is always a good sign. No, listen, that's not me, and I think to change where I am now would be silly. So it's quite refreshing that he was the same mind. Listen, we're going to do a job Saturday night. It doesn't matter what trash talk we do now. It's all about getting there Saturday night and doing a job on each other.
For the last couple of years, I think probably since the Callum Smith fight, there's been this talk about you getting that big fight. Obviously had the win over Danny Jacobs. Jaime Munguia was a name that's mentioned. Obviously Canelo's kind of lingering in the background here. But how big of a fight is this for this stage of your career against Zach Parker?
I think it's the best available at the moment. Obviously, you've got your Benavidez and your Plants going ahead, but I think for myself, moving forward, this is the best opportunity. There was the talks of the Munguia fight, but I think the prospect of the WBO interim title really trumps that. I mean, it's a good opportunity, and listen, go and get the win on Saturday night, and there's still other big fights to be made with this title. Everything's tied up with Canelo at the moment, but in time it can change. But listen, in the meantime, you can still make some interim defences with the interim title.
Bit of an unknown quantity, I think it's fair to say, Zach Parker. I think he's not really boxed on the same level as you have, even when you were down at middleweight, and he's kind of in something of unknown territory here against you. What do you know about him? How much of a threat do you think he is to you on Saturday?
Listen, I give him the full credit. He's a threat. He's there. He's 22-0. He's not put a foot wrong yet. But listen, he's not mixed it at the level I have. He's not been in there with the champions, former champions, or future champions that I've been in there with. So it's all relatively untested. I mean, he's got a good win over Vaughan Alexander, who really, I know he's been up at light heavyweight, but he's a career middleweight. Marcus Morrison again is a career middleweight. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, he's saying I'm small for super middleweight. We'll see on Saturday night. I mean, I relish the opportunity of going against bigger opponents, and listen, he's not the biggest I thought, so I'm not worried.
Mentioned his name, Canelo Alvarez, of course, the undisputed super middleweight champion. This is an interim title fight for the WBO title held by him. Do you use that as motivation, as the potential opportunity to fight him, or do you kind of clear it out of your mind and think about that after the fight?
Listen, it's obviously a massive. You want to be fully focused on what's ahead of you on Saturday night, but you've got that massive carrot being dangled in the peripherals, and you can't help but look at it. But I think it's important just to focus on Saturday night. And no, listen, there's good opportunities for the winner of this fight, and there will be, but focus on Saturday first and foremost, and then Sunday morning's a new day. We'll look to build on the momentum then.
You've had a few close shaves, should we say, with regards to judging in the past, the most notable one being the Callum Smith fight, where you unfortunately came out on what many believe to be the wrong end of a bad decision that night. Any reservations about being I know you're in London, but being the away fighter on a Queensbury show here? Of
course, I mean, but listen, I think you've got to trust in the ability of the judges, that they see a fight how it should be seen. I'm hopeful of that. I mean, I can't let it change my judgment of the fight. I've got to go in there, put my best foot forward and get the win. I can't go in there solely focused on getting a knockout, because you do that, it doesn't come, and you end up neglecting the basics. So I'm going to go in there, just focus on doing what I do best and box and move. And listen, if the knockout comes, then I'll be taking it. But I'm just going to go in there and put my best foot forward and get that win.
Zach Parker's never boxed a Southpaw as a pro. You're a Southpaw. Is that an advantage in your area?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sure he's got good opposition in the gym, and Tyler Denny had a good win the other day, so I'm sure he's done plenty of rounds with him in the past. But I think it's all different when you get in there on the night. I mean, I've sparred a lot of fighters in the lead up to this, but they're not going to be Zach Parker. So let's give him the credit he deserves. He's a good fighter. He's going to do things differently to what you've seen him do before, I'm sure. And I'm sure I'll be shocked and say, oh, his jab was faster than I thought it would be. It's always the way. You always watch these fighters, study them. I boxed Andre Sorokin. I trained for a Southpaw for 8 weeks, and he came out orthodox for 6 rounds. So it's one of those things you can plan for every eventuality, and they'll still bring something different out. So just going to adapt and overcome while I'm in there and get a job done.
He likes to switch. Zach Parker, have you been preparing with Southpaw and Orthodox for this fight?
Yeah, we've had both in. What I will say though is some people that switch, they're more weak one way in defending, so it's still about working that out and seeing what side is not so good on the defensive side, and then we'll go to work on that.
Now, I mentioned the press conference between yourself and Zach was, very respectful. There was one comment towards the end of the press conference about it not being a good time for your gym. Don't know how you took that. I took that to be sort of a hat tip or a dig, whatever you want to call it, towards Conor Benn. How did you take that? And is that frustrating for you? People kind of mention, even me, bringing it up in this interview, talking about the situation that Conor's going through at the minute as relating to your own career.
Yeah, I feel like I should go and probably punch Zev in the back of the head, shouldn't I? It's a bit of a sandbag bitch moment, that, wasn't it? But listen, it's not about Conor Benn at the moment, it's about me. Listen, I talk to Conor Benn a couple of times a week, and I don't really care about what's gone on. He's a friend first and foremost, and I care that he's well, his family's good, and that he's moving forward. And I hope in time that he clears his name, which I'm sure he will, and then he can move forward with his career.
Okay, well, John, always a pleasure. Thanks very much for speaking to ID. Before I let you go, how does the fight play out on Saturday night? Zach Parker versus John Ryder for the WBO interim title.
Be a nice belt round the waist or over the shoulder. I've not yet decided. Coming back to Islington, building for a good 2023. Before
I let you go, you mentioned that Plant Benavidez, WBC interim title. Great fight, one I'm very much looking forward to. Who'd you give the edge to in that?
It's a tough one. I think Benavidez's time at this weight is limited. I don't know if Plant's the man to expose that, but it's a good fight, but I'd have to favour Benavidez at the moment.
Okay, well, the Gorilla, John Ryder, thanks very much for speaking to ID Boxing. Let's catch up soon.
Thank you.